Hey friends, welcome and welcome back to Eating and Sipping Pretty with Cola. If you are new to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe down below and make sure that post notification bell is turned on all. That way you'll be notified every single time I upload a new video, and give the video a thumbs up. You guys are going to cook pork chops with me today. Yes, we're frying some pork chops, and we also are going to make gravy. So we're going to do 2 fried and 2 in gravy. So with nothing else left to be said, let's get this thing cracking and smacking. So I'm going to try something new. I'm going to try putting some yellow French's mustard on these pork chops. I've never done that before. I've seen people do it on their chicken when they're about to fry chicken, fried ribs, pork chops, yada yada. So I'm just going to try it. I have all my seasonings sitting here. I have some seasoning salt. I'm not seasoning salt. I have some sea salt. I have paprika, black pepper, some onion powder, some garlic powder, of course. And I have my Tony's Creole seasoning and sea salt, as I said. So I'm just going to, oh yeah, and I'm going to put some Sazon. I see people rave about this Sazon, this particular kind. So I'm just going to try a little bit on there just to see what it do. So I'm just going to put a little bit of mustard on one side and then kind of make it be enough for the other side, because if it happens to not taste good, I want to have not used a whole bunch. So I want the mustard on there, but I don't want to put too much on there, if you know what I mean. Like, I just want to put a little bit on there, try it out with these 4, if it ruins it, it's only 4, right? So I'm getting some gloves, and then I'm just going to slather it in on the pork chops and then kind of make it, come together on the other side as well. So let's start rubbing. Rub-a-dub-dub. So just like that, I just kind of tap the other side onto the other one just to get a little bit on there. Like I said, this is my first time trying this mustard thing. I've seen people do it. I've seen what their results look like. It looks really pretty and golden brown. And I just was like, you know what? Let me just try it with these pork chops. I haven't had pork chops in a long time. You guys, I don't eat pork like that. I can honestly say I probably may have pork, and this is me stretching it, like really stretching it, maybe 4 to 5 times in a year. And the pork that I'll usually have is something like some bacon every now and then. That's the bacon I probably have. Now I use bacon to fry my cabbage, but that's another story for a different day. Anyway, I'm sprinkling a little bit of Creole seasoning on this. Creole seasoning have salt, so I didn't want to put too much because I may use a little bit of sea salt as well. And then next I'm going to go in with some garlic powder. Heavy on the garlic powder, heavy on the garlic powder. Onion powder next. Heavy on that too. Heavy on all of the seasonings except for stuff with salt in it, or salt. Just to avoid putting too much salt. And this is black pepper that I'm using next. If you limit your sodium yourself, you don't have to ever worry about further down the line anyone telling you or a doctor telling you that you need to, cut back on sodium or you have high blood pressure. So if you do it on your own, kind of really watch your salt, then you'll be good. So this is some Sazon. I just put a little bit on there because I'm not sure what this is going to taste like. I smelt the seasoning, and it has this particular smell that I've smelled before when I've put different seasonings together, but I couldn't really catch this one particular smell that I was getting. So that's why I was kind of scared to put too much. So I just put a little bit. Now I'm going to do the same thing to the other side, season it with all the seasonings on the other side, and then we'll put it in my flour mixture. So now I just kind of want to mix them all together to kind of distribute the seasonings and stuff pretty much evenly as much as possible. This is my flour mixture. There is bread flour in there, cornstarch, and did I put anything else? No, just bread flour and cornstarch. And I seasoned the flour as well. You can season it with whatever you want. I just kind of put some of the seasonings that I have sitting here in the flour. But I did not put no salt in that flour. None at all. I think I just put Creole seasoning, garlic powder, and onion powder, and that was it. I already have my skillet heating up, and I'm just going to make sure I coat the pork chops really well with this flour mixture, and then we're going to get it started. Easy cleanup, easy cleanup. That's why I put the foil down and season my meat on that. I could have used a pan, but why use a pan when I can use some foil where I can just throw it away? Throw it away and then be done with it. And clean the counter off later. All right, so shake it up, shake it up, shake it up, shake it. Shake that thing. All right, y'all, let's get this thing cracking and smacking. So, as I said, oil have been heating. It's at the right temperature. I just did a little test with the little flour. And now I'm just going to politely lay my pork chops in its bed. Politely lay it. Politely. See? Politely. Y'all, I'm doing a voiceover. I'm being silly. Meet your cousin. Say hey to your cousin. Fred, say hey to Barbara. That's Fred, the first one, and Barbara's the second one. They cousins, y'all. They cousins. Anyway, so we're just going to let that cook, get nice and golden brown, and then we'll turn it. And while that's doing that, I'll just be laying some paper towel down so that I can drain them on the paper towel once they're ready to come out. I like to clean as I go. I'm constantly wiping down the stove because the grease is popping everywhere. This is a new stove. It's just like, when you get a new stove, you want to keep it pretty. So it's like, but even when when we had the other one, it was the same thing. I'm always constantly wiping, clean as I go, clean as I go. That's what I was taught from a young child. Clean as you go when you're cooking, so that at the end, you won't have such a big mess to clean up. My mom always say, a good cook, clean as they go. All right. So look at that. Isn't that pretty? Beautiful. Okay, so we're just gonna let that cook some more, and I'll be back. Okay, that side got a little bit of crispy right there on that part right there. But look at this one. Beautiful. Beautiful. Now that one that has the little dark part on the that's Barbara. I said Barbara was the second one. So Barbara has the little kind of burnt edge right there. Since I'm going to put 2 in gravy, smother it in gravy, I'm going to put, yeah, Barbara, she going in the gravy because she got that little darker part right there. So that'll be one that I'll put in the gravy. Now, because I am going to be making a gravy for 2 of them, 2 of them don't necessarily have to be cooked all the way, right? Because I'm gonna make my gravy. I'm gonna let the gravy cook a little bit, and then I'll add the pork chops in it. And because they're gonna get added in the gravy and gonna cook within the gravy, it don't necessarily need to be all the way fried. How I would normally do it, I would just half fry, whether it's chicken, pork chops, whatever. If I'm making a gravy, just half fry it and then take it out and then let it finish cooking in the gravy. So this one is ready to come out. Look how golden brown that is. Isn't that gorgeous? Isn't she lovely? So technically I could have taken the other one out My mind is so all over the place to I forgot that I wanted to put that one in the gravy. So technically I could have taken it out, but what I'm doing is cutting it so that that bubble area can get flat because it's not done on the inner part. I know you guys had that happen before. Like the pork chop kind of bubble out in that inner part. If the grease isn't like, if it's not deep frying, the grease don't get like in there to be able to cook that inner part. So I'm kind of just slicing it down on the side so that that inner part can get a little bit more brown. But I technically didn't have to do that because that's the one that's going in the gravy. So that's why I'm kind of pushing it down, laying it flat with this fork so that it can get submerged under the grease. Yeah, that inner part there. That's what I'm showing you. That inner part. But it should have came out already. But it's fine. It'll still work and the pork chops will not be dry simply because it is going in gravy. All right, your time is up. Just gonna lay this last pork chop in here. All right, guys. So the pork chops are done. I just wanted to give you guys a glimpse of what they look like fried before I get into smothering them in onions and jalapenos, because that's what they're going to be smothered in, onions and jalapenos in this gravy. So this is what they look like fried. I can just take one of those right now and put it on a piece of bread, some fresh honey wheat berry bread, which is my favorite bread, and make me just a simple pork chop sandwich. I'd have been fine with that. Get a good look at that. Mmm. So yummy. Okay, y'all, let's get this gravy started. So basically, what I'm going to do, I'm using the leftover crumbs from the fried pork chops. I poured out majority of the oil that was there. I left the crumbs that was left in the bottom. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. This particular time I decided to do it. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit more flour, because you can see there's a little bit of oil on the side there. So I'm just going to add some more flour to that just to kind of soak up that oil. And because I want my gravy to be a little thick, because if I would have poured a little bit more of that oil out, I didn't really have to add any flour because of the crumbs left from the pork chops. I could have just cut up my onions and jalapenos and put some water in it, or you could have used chicken stock or vegetable stock or whatever stock you want, and it would have been all good. So I'm putting a little bit more flour. So basically, I'm just letting that flour cook in. Give it a little stir or a little mix. Slinging stuff everywhere. Now, I'm going to begin to cut up my onion so that I can put the onion in this, what should I call this? This flour mixture, this roux. Ooh, I don't know. So I'm going to mix this up a little bit more. It's a little bit wetter than I would like it to be. But once I add the onions in, it's going to be a lot better. So I like to cut my onions round. Sometimes I cut them round and then slice them down the middle, but this time I'm going to be just leaving them whole and round. I like a lot of onions in my gravies or sauces that I make. I like a lot of onions. If I wouldn't have been using this cast iron skillet, if I would have been using like a little bit bigger of a pot or something, I would have used 2 onions, because I like to start off with the onions in there, and then midways I like to add another onion, so that, because you know when you put them in the beginning, they kind of cook away. I like to be able to still see my onions when I place my gravy over my rice or potatoes or whatever the case may be. I like to still see onions. Very translucent, but I like to still see them. Y'all, I had to do this voiceover because when I was cooking, my son was making so much noise. I mean, it would have been really bad and very distracting. So you guys would have been listening to the noise versus paying attention to what I'm doing. And I didn't want that. So I had to do it, even though doing a voiceover, it takes a lot more time because I have to go back and play the video all the way over for however long it is and do this. But for you guys, I'll do it for you, for y'all, because y'all my friends. Okay, back to business. So I'm going to also add a piece of jalapeno in it. Um, that's all I had left. I didn't have a whole one. If I had a whole one, I would have put a whole jalapeno in here, but I didn't. So I'm just going to put what I had left. Oh, I did have a whole one. Oh no, actually it was bigger than that. So I did use part of that in something else. So technically it looked like it's whole, but I don't think it was whole. Or is this the one that I used that was whole and then I saved part of it? I can't remember. Anyway, the jalapenos in there. No, I think this was the whole jalapeno and then I saved part of it. Yeah, that's what I did. This was a whole jalapeno and I just saved part of it for something else. So now I'm just adding some bottled water in here so we can get this gravy going. A little bit of black pepper. So I'm going to season the gravy before I put the 2 pork chops in. So basically black pepper, onion powder, garlic powder. And I'm going to add a little bit of sugar. My stomach is growling. So I just put some, that's the Lipton onion, but that is the, which flavor is that? I forgot which flavor that is. It's not the regular Lipton onion one that I normally use. It's the other one. I can't think of the name of it though. But I added some of that in there because I swear by Lipton onion soup mix. In most of my dishes, I use it. I put it in everything but in cake. So that's bubbling nice and good, just like I want it to be. I'm just going to add a little bit of sugar in it to even out the flavor. Yes, I put sugar in my gravy. It's not to make it sweet at all. You'll never taste the sugar in anything that I put it in, like foods and stuff. When it's tomato-based stuff or like a gravies, you'll never ever taste the sugar. I only put the sugar to balance out the flavors, and it does it perfectly every time, every single time. If I could find something else to use that would do that same thing without altering the taste, I would be more than happy to. But until then, I will be using the sugar. I think I tried agave, but there was some type of aftertaste that I didn't like. So yeah, I didn't do it again. I think that's what it's called. So I'm just putting a little bit of garlic powder and onion powder, a little bit of paprika in here. Mix it around. Put a little bit more water in here, because I don't want it dumb thick. I want it just thick, thick. Not dumb thick, but thick, thick. If you know what I mean. A little bit of salt, you guys. That was just a little bit of Creole seasoning. A little bit more garlic powder. That's either garlic or onion powder, one of the two. Make sure the flavor is just about right before I put these pork chops in. Okay, it's about that time now. Time for the pork chops to go in. There's one. And two. Perfect. Now that they're in their resting place, I'm just going to put these onions on top of it and kind of push it down. I'm going to let this cook and do its thing. And we're going to have ourselves some smothered pork chops, smothered in onions, jalapenos, and gravy. So you should technically put a top over this, a top or a piece of foil over it to make sure nothing gets in it and just to keep all the flavors in. But this is basically it. The pork chops are in, they're doing their thing, and this will be done in no time because the pork chops was already fried all the way. Friends, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure you tell a friend so that friend can tell a friend and that friend can tell a friend. Why? Because sharing is caring. Positive vibes only, guys. Be blessed. Bye. Bye. Bye, guys. Don't forget to keep God first. Be kind, exercise, and drink lots of water. That's keep God first. Be kind, exercise, and drink lots of water. Now throw up kindness the same way you throw up confetti. Bye, guys. And don't be petty. This is how it turned out, you guys. Isn't that just beautiful? Beautiful. It's nice and thick. The onions have cooked all the way down. They're very translucent. If you could only smell it. Smells divine. I mean divine. Put this over a bed of rice, or you can have it with some mashed potatoes or a baked potato, or just make you a sandwich with 2 pieces of bread, you know? Either way it go, it's going to be great. This turned out so good. So good. You guys, thanks for watching. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Like, comment.